Hey everybody, my name is Rydo, and today we're starting Black Mirror 2, the sequel to the sort of niche cult followed game Black Mirror 1. This game came out in 2011, a full 8 years after Black Mirror 1 happened, and in a weird way, even though I only played Black Mirror 1 for the first time in my life a few months ago, I really don't remember that much, so I'm probably going to have a somewhat similar experience to people who would have played Black Mirror 2 after having only played the first game 8 years prior. There's some weirdness with this game. It does move, because there's such a difference, to 3D graphics on a flat plane compared to the first game, which was just 2D graphics in a point-and-click adventure. However, this game does not support really at all higher resolutions on Windows. Many games don't, so if your dots per inch is set higher than 100%, you're going to see flickering text of please stand by during the loading screens wherever your mouse is, and it's just probably going to cause you problems further down in the gameplay. Also, this game doesn't really support 1080p. It does, but it makes everything so small that text is impossible to read, and solving puzzles would become even more difficult. Even the game, it says, tells you to move it down to 2080 pixel width, which pretty much means 720p HD. By default, if you have the graphics setting on high, it doesn't turn up anti-aliasing quality to 3, it just leaves it at 1. I think most computers probably could handle that perfectly fine at 3. Every single one of these volume settings has by default been set to a different number. So overall volume by default is 75%, music volume is 50%, speech volume is 100%, effects volume is 90%, and environment volume is 55%. That's standard, which I've argued many times. This is the game's master, the creators of the game's master. The thing they need to do at this point, though, is leave everything at 50% as far as the engine goes. Because if I want to turn up the speech volume even louder than 100%, I have to go to an internal audio setting, which is kind of difficult to do to get it louder. And I probably would have to turn down everything else. There's just a smaller range of settings you can adjust to your own desire. For me, everything here I'm going to leave the same. The truth of the matter, though, is in Windows volume mixer, I do have all of the volume of the game down to 25%. That's pretty typical for how games just play and record for me, and so we'll leave it there. Subtitles aren't enabled by default, and use hardware mouse pointer isn't enabled by default, and I think both of those should be enabled for most people. There's a weird ratio here, also at 720p. It's not a 16:9 ratio, so I assume that we might be doing an 800 by 600, or like not one of the oldest of old square resolutions you'd have on a computer, but something that is just not quite 16:9. So we are going to have black bars on the side of the game pretty much, I think, regardless of what you choose. And this graphic that you can slightly see of something floating over is just kind of ignoring that black bar, but we're not going to really see that in the game. There are extras, which is nice. I, for a second, thought this was a remastered version of Black Mirror 2, but it isn't. It's the release on Steam, the only one that's available. There's videos that will unlock, and there's apparently 5 mini games will unlock. But no, there's been a remaster of the original Black Mirror, and shockingly, that game only takes, according to howlongtobeat.com, about 5 hours to beat the game, which is the one thing that stands out in my mind about Black Mirror 1, is having never played the game before and not knowing the solutions. It was an incredibly long game, and this is in the same vein, if not longer. The amount of time to beat the game seems to be about the same, but there's, according to the number of people you interact with, there's like 40 in this game, and there was only about 18 in the first game. So we're going to interact with more people, perhaps a little less. There definitely was some weirdness too, as I'm trying to remember what happened in Black Mirror 1. Would just kind of spoil everything in the first game. It seems like you were consistently causing things to happen that would trigger something in the game to move the story forward, but there was no logical path to what you would happen. For example, you might need to catch a fish, and you would catch the fish, and then a cutscene would just happen, and it would be the next day. And it would be moderately understandable that the game wants you to catch the fish, but there's really no storyline reason for it. And it feels like that was the whole game. And in the end, you just kind of said, it looked like the bad guy was going to win at the end of the game, and then it just kind of didn't happen. So, like, the whole game as a game did not feel great. And normally speaking, if I hadn't already purchased Black Mirror 2 and Black Mirror 3, I probably wouldn't bother to play this sequel. So my hopes are that in the 8 years, with a different company making this game, or at least a company under a different name, maybe the same people, I'm hoping Black Mirror 2 is a big improvement over the first game. More logical, more realistic, and definitely more fun. So that's my hopes. Now let's start the game. Apologies for this taking so long. It always takes so long to start these games. And before I start, please subscribe and click the notification bell. Let's begin. This game already starts on the right foot. I've gone through this intro several times. We can play the easy game mode, which will give you additional game help, options to skip special puzzles, and to receive further tips from the diary. Or we can play the normal mode that has no additional game help. However, you can select additional game help option while in this mood if you wish. So, do I want the ability to skip puzzles? Kinda yes. Even though I probably won't do it, there definitely were some puzzles and some craziness in the first game that I had to look up. And if I have to look it up online, I might as well be able to just skip it. Or generally, I suppose I'll still try to look up the solution online before I skip it. But it depends. It depends on if it's a puzzle or if it's some kind of ability element. So the graphics look amazing. This is 1969 Black Mirror England. Remember that the first game was set in the past, not horribly in the past. 1969 is not hundreds of years from now, but recording this in 2018, it's what, 50 years? And this is the new animation of Samuel from the first game, the character you played as. And it's a pretty good assumption. I'm 99% sure this is Samuel's wife who had died before the beginning of the first game. I think it's very weird that she's walking barefoot in this giant castle. I just wouldn't trust the floors to not have
Samuel?
Have nails or
Are
something
you there?
on them.
Please,
Step on
say something.
So she's reading the book. We don't know what's in the book.
There you are. Where have you been? I've been looking for you.
This series is supposed to be
You
a
promised you
horror
wouldn't just disappear
mystery
anymore.
series.
I've been looking all over for you. Ow!
I don't really
What's wrong with you?
believe that it
I don't
is
know who
really
you
too
are.
much of a
I don't
horror
know
story.
my own husband. You disappear every night. You only talk when it's absolutely necessary. Where is the man that I married, Samuel? I want my husband back!
So Samuel
What have I
starts
done?
the fire.
What the hell have I done? Oh no! I didn't want this! No! No! Oh.
One assumes that nobody really had any suspicions at all that he caused the fire. I don't think that was ever implied in the first game. And the reason Samuel's doing this, now we're in 1993. So 69 to 93, you're talking, let's see if I can actually do the math. 24 years. Yeah, 24 years later. And you are definitely not playing as Samuel. Because, spoiler alert for the last game, he doesn't make it. He was under the control of a demon.
Stick the damn fuse back in. I want to open the store.
And, like, there was demonic forces. So here's the problem with the resolution even at this point. While I can see these, because it's handwritten, I can't really make out what it says. I'm not a great reader of crosswords. I mean cursive. I'm also probably not that good of a speaker if I can't tell it. So whatever that just said, I don't know. We can certainly open up the diary and semester break in Biddleford. I can read that. But let's see, why haven't I flipped out yet? A blank little coastal. So yeah, pause the game now if you want to read this, but a lot of this dialogue I think I'm just going to not even try to read if I can avoid it. Power's gone down in the store, probably the fuse.
The fuse! The fuse, man! Open your eyes!
Junk in this building. This tip system gives you information. So maybe I don't really need the tip system because I can't read them anyways. We can click here to load and save. And we can click here to get to the main menu if we wanted to change the new settings, or go back to the main menu, or just exit the game directly. Down in the lower left hand corner we have this, which I guess I can right click.
That's a postcard of Biddeford. It's very useful for getting from one part of town to the next. But I can't just go off across the town right now. I've still got things to do here.
Quite the voice there, as far as a voice actor. That I guess the Black Mirror series is really a British UK celebration of across the pond game, where most games would have just a very flat United States accent.
My SLR camera, fitted with a flash too. I never leave home without it.
There's no flash attached on this icon, but whatever. So with the high DPI, you'd get some weird flickering on all of this.
You think you'll be done today? How long does it take to install a new fuse?
And they're starting us with the simplest of just find something challenge.
Old clothes dummy. Oh, judging by the smell, it's been damp at some point. Now it's just moldering away.
Left click looks.
I wouldn't accept it as a present, even if it didn't stink.
And I guess right click when you've executed all of the information about new objects of the game, you lose its interactivity. Interesting. So that's gonna make the game a little bit easier if I just look at things and then right click and then I can't look at them anymore. However, that does potentially mess up point and click adventure games. If you look at something, then 5 minutes goes by and you've forgotten that vital bit of information that you got by looking at the thing.
A light shaft with a grill. Leads up to the backyard. The hinges on the basement grill are rusted. No idea if you could open it. And even if you could, it'd squeak like hell.
So there might be something here because of this interactivity staying there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up running into a cave-in or something that makes us have to escape.
An ancient rusted bucket with a little bit of water in it. With that water in the bucket, it's only a matter of time until it's completely rusted through. An old garden hose with more holes than a golf course. I can't do anything with that.
Beer crate?
A beer crate with 24 bottles. All empty. And the bottles aren't dusty either. Beer doesn't keep long around here. Cheap beer. That's about right for Fuller. I just wonder why he has the crate in the basement. I can't see him coming down here every time he wants to drink a beer upstairs.
I kind of felt like Samuel's voice acting in the first game was a little flat, and this guy's voice acting feels a little flat too. Let's look at the wooden pallet. It doesn't seem like...
That rickety pallet is blocking my view of the lower shelves. I can't see what's behind there.
Come on! Get on with it! Replace that damn fuse already!
The game is certainly beating you over the head. Seems like I'm getting something hovering over something in the foreground, and I was thinking that the foreground elements would probably not be interactable. Doesn't seem like too many of these other things are.
Oh my god. Who would want to be photographed in front of that backdrop? Well, maybe it was the trend. Once. Oh my god. Who would want to be photographed in front of that backdrop?
Right-clicking did the same thing as left-clicking.
Well, maybe it was the trend. Once.
And clearly there's something more to it.
If I want to look at awful pictures, then I can do it upstairs in the store.
So is this a photography guy?
If I want to look at awful pictures, then I can do it upstairs in the store.
Or... like, I seriously don't know if what job, if any, he has.
That's not going to change until I have the power turned back on.
The fuse! The fuse, man! Open your eyes!
So there's a candle right now.
Well, at least it'll give me a bit of light until I get the power turned back on.
So we have a gear to move things.
Let's see. A few plastic containers, bottles and boxes, light bulbs, cables, grease. And and a small carton of fuses.
So, did we just get them? No. So, yeah, there's some weirdness definitely happening here about how the game started with a big reveal of Samuel killing his wife, and now we're playing as this character. I'm not even sure I caught his name. I guess I didn't. And he's just looking for fuses.
Looks like it's been there for a while, but the bottle's still sealed, so it could still be good.
You think you'll be done today? How long does it take to install a new fuse?
So it's going in full circle. I'm certainly taking my time here.
Fuller will hardly miss it, and even if, I can live with it.
To get additional backgrounds on things, clicking on them and using with the right click mouse button.
A small container of photo developer from Fuller's basement. It's full to the brim.
Carton of fuses.
Hopefully the fuses work. You never know in this place. There's just one fuse left in the box. But at least it looks unused. I reckon it's still out of work.
So where is the fuse box? Or is it upstairs, or is it somewhere else?
If I want to look at awful pictures, then I can do it upstairs in the store. So look at this paint bucket. A battered paint can with about half an inch of dust on the lid.
Feels like I might just...
Finest pearly white 85. I don't think I can recall having seen one pearly white thing in this whole building.
Yeah, it seems like we're just... Oh, here's the fuse box right there. Kind of easy to overlook things, isn't it? Feels like we're gonna come back this way. And...
An old dust-encrusted fuse box.
I think
there are a lot of
a
wires coming out of the top
open.
of it, which then run along the floor joists. Doesn't look exactly safe.
I kind of feel like you should have started the game doing this and then found a book or something
coming out of the top of it,
that would have
then run along the
been
floor
like
joists.
or found the confession letter
exactly
of Samuel to have the flashback to that cutscene. Like, I'm trying here to right click and it didn't work.
An old dust-encrusted fuse box.
And so I'm gonna start. I guess I need to use the fuse with the fuse box.
Come on, get on with it! Replace that damn fuse already!
Like, either I'm missing something or...
An old dust-encrusted fuse box.
I need like a pliers.
Okay then.
Or apparently left click is interacting.
Is pretty well junk.
And right click is looking, so I was totally backwards. And even at 720p, you've still got a ton of resolution that looks pretty bad. So
I think I can swap a fuse over without needing instructions.
it doesn't look like there's anything. Yeah, we can show the hotspots. That's helpful, and it's just gonna leave them on. So maybe in every room we'll just turn.
That's the main switch. It won't do anything until I put a new fuse in there.
Is the switch automatically switched?
The blown fuse must be under here. Huh, Fuller's already had a go at it. But again, he couldn't sort it out.
Apparently you have a screwdriver or whatever is needed.
3 other fuses look fine, but this one's had it. I should throw that away, otherwise I'll get mixed up.
I don't know how you would wire a house with 3 fuses in this way. It seems like you're running a lot of electricity through too few fuses. Most residential wiring use circuit breakers now
all
instead
we
of
need is some
fuses.
power.
Anyways, but hey.
Okay, so let's have a look. Let there be light.
There we go.
Don't need this anymore.
So there's a perfect opportunity to knock the candle over and start a fire. The space bar shows you all of the interactable things in a scene. However, in this instance, I kind of knew what I want to do. I didn't see the floorboard.
There's not as much dust on the floorboards here. They're almost shiny, in fact. So does Fuller stand here every night with a beer looking at these awful pictures?
And now we can interact with the first rope.
If I want to look at awful pictures, then I can do it upstairs in the store.
So there's some kind of secret here, but I don't know what it is.
I'll leave it here in case the power drops out again. And that can only be a matter of time looking at the fuse box.
Yeah, that does not look like the right kind of wiring.
A timeless, plain and simple 80-watt bulb on a cable. A classic.
Being artistic about that. I guess there wasn't another thing to interact with. Maybe I was just accidentally changing this cursor. There's a little bit of an animation of the eyeball getting bigger that really doesn't need to exist. I could turn that off and use the arrows and indicators from the first game, but I don't really want to.
A water faucet. If Fuller had a garden he wanted to water, he could do it from here. But in Fuller's garden, you'd get pretty well nothing to grow.
I'm still a little confused about whether right-clicking or left-clicking is the right move.
These boards don't run parallel to the wall. They're turned 90 degrees. They make a rectangle roughly 30 by 25 inches. Strange. The boards aren't fixed at all. They move easily and sank a little bit into the floor as I stepped on them. Something's a bit strange.
So I have to left click, then right click, then left click, then right click. And I don't know if I'm supposed to use a photo developer on that, because that wouldn't really make sense. Camera with the photo background. Doesn't seem like it does anything. And clicking on something then right clicking on something doesn't make any sense.
If I want to look at awful pictures.
And just skip some of this.
If I want to look at awful pictures.
So I guess we're kind of done, even though we know we're not done. We know we're coming back here to find some kind of secret book under the floorboards. But sort of in the same way that the first game forced you to move the story forward the way the writers had it.
Fulfillment.
It would have been better if in that instance
Finally,
you just
make a big deal about going to college, but you're too sappy to replace a fuse. Put that board outside in front of the store. Get on with it!
So this is a photography place, and I guess we'll just start with everything and look at everything.
Many of the things here are overpriced, but that's obvious. There's only one photo store in town. He takes advantage of that.
There's sort of a list.
Simple reflex cameras for private use. Nothing special. The postcards all show scenes from New England. They're the regular cards you see everywhere around here.
It's like an inability to pronounce the letter R.
Who should I send the card to? My fellow white bread students who I hardly know? Or my mom who lives a couple of houses away?
I kind of wonder if this guy is even related to the other family. And he's just spinning in circle looking at things. He's not gonna walk.
You know, that idiot's kit really isn't too bad. And pretty expensive. The lights look brand new. He's definitely not had them for long.
Now he walks.
That's Fuller's camera. It's quite a good one. Huh. If good technology would make up for missing talent, then even a complete idiot like Fuller could shoot good pictures with it. Perhaps the store used to do better before, and he had some savings. Or maybe he bought the new lights on credit. The store couldn't have paid for them, that's for sure.
We're getting some interesting, like, background noise. And I'm just trying to exhaust everything here.
That's Fuller's camera. It's
Alright, we left clicked.
That's Fuller's camera.
And we right clicked, and it was the same thing. We can talk to Fuller. We can look at Fuller's the light box. We can look at this. Seems like I might need to use the keyboard. I don't really want to play with a keyboard though. Let's see, cash till.
On my first day, my friendly boss made it very clear to me that he kept an exact account of the amount of money in the till. A little hint that I shouldn't consider ripping them off. That's a light box for looking at slides and negatives. It works.
Interesting, but we don't have any slides or negatives right now.
These photo mounts are made of a kind of pressed card. You can stick photos into them to make them easier to hang. The drawback is that they can get easily dusty.
Hey, dumbass! Haven't you forgotten something? The sign?
I guess this is the sign he wants me to pick up. Immediately here, I'm seeing a easier experience than the first game, just by
frames
seeing
could do with being a little more
what to click on.
But to be honest, they don't really deserve it.
And so it's left click the
Store's
sign.
doing very well. I don't think a cheap sign is going to change that. But what the hell?
To get additional background on them, click on them with the right click mouse button. So we can get more info on Fuller.
Fuller. What can you say? A good reason to have doubts about humanity? I've only been working here a few days, and I've already given up hope that he might, just once, behave like a normal human being. This is probably the most stressful holiday job that I've ever had. Holiday job in a photo studio? Yeah, sure. Great stuff. Learn new things, earn some money. And the reality looks a little different. Fatter and more bald. Know what I'm saying?
Now, when he says holiday job, I'm assuming he means holiday in the sense that he is on break from attending college, as many Europeans do, and it's a longer term, several weeks long type holiday, not he's working over the course of a Christmas holiday between Black Friday and Christmas for this guy. I guess right click
The store
this to
isn't
pick it
doing
up.
very well. I don't think a cheap sign is going to change that. But what the hell?
No, it seems like what we have going on here is left click is the right action button. Left click is the correct action button. But you can only seem to interact with some items by looking at them with the left click first, then clicking them. So you cannot possibly miss the line of dialogue. And you're almost certainly going to hear lines of dialogue twice, which it already is definitely seeming like that. It's happening a lot.
No wonder Willow needs some distraction. I don't even get 5 customers a day.
So one assumes this guy is just gonna die. At this rate.
Yesterday, when I was tidying up the sales room, there were all these stupid afternoon talk shows on. It almost made me go crazy.
Let's talk to this guy. I don't think we have anything to say.
Excuse me.
Like, we can ask about
What do you
the
want?
fuses, and we can ask about Fuller's store.
The store's not doing too well,
What's that got to do with you?
is it? Nothing. Nothing at all. It's no doubt because of the vast competition here in Biddeford that nothing's going on here. I mean, what else could it be?
This is the only photo studio here.
That's what I thought.
See, is this the same city that's near Black Mirror? I guess it might be. But I mean, it's been nearly 30 years since the first game, so this might be a character from the first game, just a lot older.
I've swapped out the fuse.
Yeah? And now? Do you want a medal? I told you to take the damn sign outside.
Then it just jumps to the inventory. Photo box or photo holder. Let's just take the sign. Like, I know I'm taking my sweet time, but this is not moving very fast. The first game had this same problem.
Someone's really told you.
Huh?
You've put it the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Why would it matter one way or the other? It's the same sign.
I'd like to get some portraits done. Some pretty black and white pictures. Have I come to the right place?
Oh, yeah. You're at just the right place.
Maybe it said
Black
something
and white
different.
photography is my specialty.
Wonderful. So let's get started. My name's Angelina.
Oh, I'm Darren. Let's go inside.
So you have this nice scene that you don't even do anything.
What can I do for you?
I wanted to get some portraits done.
I think the TV might be making noise.
We can start right away, dear lady.
But I thought Darren would...
What? But he's just an errand boy. A pretty child like you deserves a real photographer.
Creepy guy.
Here, go and pick up the post and take this letter to Mrs. Biba in the diner in the main square. I've got things to do.
So this guy's coming off very creepy.
Son of a...
You can now skip the cutscenes by hitting the tab key. Thank you, game. So, yeah, we're in a city, and it seems a little 3D-ish, which is going to make it slightly confusing as to, do I use the automobile? Do I just go this way? Do I look at this? Apparently, this is where we are now, obviously. And in a weird way, I guess this might be the Black Manor, and this might be nothing else. Wow, that's kind of a small number of places. Buildings look better and older, more modern.
Most of the pictures here in the window weren't taken by Fuller. In some moment of blinding inspiration, he must have decided to get some proper photographers to promote his business. Of course, they have no idea just how lucky they've been. New England Photo Service. I reckon a person has to be pretty damn desperate to have their pictures taken at Fuller's place. But he's the only photographer in town. And there are plenty of tourists here. Presumably he does most of his business with them. I can't explain it any other way, just how he keeps his head above water.
So he's consistently questioning how Fuller makes any money, which is certainly trying to make the player question that too.
Fuller lives with his mother over the store.
Let's see. Fire hydrant.
A hydrant, just like any other one. I don't see anything special about it.
A ever blinking traffic light.
I've only been here a few days. Exactly the same length of time the traffic lights have been on pause.
Let's see, we've got a shop window over here in the car. And then we're just still doing some very basic errands.
An unbelievable mess of old guns and swords, uniforms, ships' bells, radios. As long as it's old, it's sold here.
Even in 2008, this is far too slow to start a game, even a point-and-click
I think that's
adventure
Fuller's
game.
car. I'm not one of those people who knows about such things and goes into fits of ecstasy when they see a classic. Who knows? Is that thing a classic anyway?
There's a bird flying over here, but it's just background. Yeah, definitely some weirdness about this compared to like Broken Sword 1, where the first cutscene is an explosion in a cafe and you're investigating the explosion right then and there. We've been playing probably for 35 minutes now, and it doesn't seem like there's anything that we're even going to run into as far as the story.
Note for a package. There's a little shop down on the harbor which is a collection point for all the parcel mail around here. If I hand in the note there, I'll be able to pick up Fuller's delivery.
Alright, so we know what to do there.
A letter from Fuller. I'm supposed to give it to Mrs. Biber at the diner. She works behind the counter there.
So, Harbor Promenade, I guess, is where we're going. There doesn't seem like there's a way to walk forward. A double click on inbox will launch a corresponding actions immediately. What? What does that mean? Like I have all the things on. There's just too many things to click on, and too many of them are unimportant things.
A life belt. Years ago, there were pirates around here who used to lure ships under the rocks. They used to light false beacons, and once the ships had run aground on the rocks, they'd row out and rescue the cargo. Pretty senseless driving around Maine in a convertible. But I reckon that's not what it's really about. It was expensive, and that's what counts.
Yeah, so we're in the United States in Maine, and I don't feel like that's a United States accent, but I guess he may be a family member of Samuel, a descendant of some sort, and he is on holiday in the United States. That would explain a little bit there. But I think I'm gonna have to decide to not click on everything, even though I can see everything, and try to play this game more sensibly and logic.
Looks like you can
Logical.
only buy tourist rip-off stuff in here. But the mail for the whole neighborhood gets dropped here too.
Yeah. Because I'm not a huge fan of his voice acting and the way things, and the fact that there's just a ton of things to click on, we're gonna have to play this logical and just go to the person, do the thing we think we need to do, and be done with it. I'd like to see what kind of
A young woman. She looks sad.
lines of dialogue system they're gonna have.
Everything okay?
No, it's not actually. Carrie died here 2 years ago. She was my best friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. How did it happen?
You're not from around here.
No, I'm from Boston. I'm spending the semester break at my mother's.
I was hoping he was from
Well,
the UK.
Carrie committed suicide. No one knows why. Everyone loved her. She was intelligent and always happy. I think there's still a picture of her in old Fuller's display window. A young woman with dark hair and green eyes.
Yes, I know that picture. A really pretty woman.
She had
So maybe I looked at that picture?
After studying, she wanted to open a kindergarten here in Bedford with her husband Jason. I just don't understand it. From one day to the next, she changed completely. Became really reclusive. She was depressed, melancholic all the time. No one could reach her anymore. Not even Jason. Even though they loved each other more than anything. Then one day, she just threw herself into the sea.
And no one knows why?
No one.
Odd that the
Jason
line of
has
dialogue
never gotten over it.
just
I couldn't help it.
a picture appeared and then it automatically clicked on it.
Bimbo,
I
convertible.
didn't click it.
He probably just felt so lonely. It's definitely got nothing to do with love.
He must have been really lonely.
Excuse me. I'd rather be alone right now.
Of course. I'm sorry.
So the line of dialogue conversations are going to be pictorial based. That seems like that works pretty well. Am I supposed to be giving this to her? Or
A
just
collection
right-clicking?
note for a package. There's a little shop down on the harbor which is a collection point for all the parcel mail around here.
Yeah. He had already said that. So I guess I have to go into the souvenir store to have that happen. I can't talk to this guy. I don't think you walk further to
Barely a single wave today. No wonder. Beautiful
scroll
weather,
the
not
screen.
much wind.
It seems like they've intentionally kind of locked the camera into single shots, which works decently well with hidden object games. Here we have a metal bar just out of nowhere. So it's kind of
A flat metal bar. It's broken away from the railings.
like normally in point and click adventure games you do want to just pick up random
It's pretty heavy.
junk. And you do want to just randomly click on things because you know eventually it's going to come into some use. However, a high number of things that we've clicked on so far have not involved or done anything, not interacted anyway. We got this photo developer for no reason. Now we have a metal bar.
It's quite ugly enough, thanks.
Figured that would be funny, at least a little bit, to try and smash the convertible with the metal bar. And yeah, I think I've definitely made the right choice as we save here. We'll just name it new entry each time. We've definitely made the right choice to make this game cover it in hour-long increments. Well, no, 45-minute long increments is what I'm doing. Because, yeah, incredibly slow. And I know it is definitely true that I spent about 8 minutes, or maybe even more, setting up this, but this game certainly doesn't match the feeling and the ending of Black Mirror 1. It maybe, in some ways, is kind of that slow meandering of the beginning of Black Mirror 1, but I don't think I ever enjoyed that part. This is a really slow start for a point-and-click adventure, and it doesn't fix anything. It makes point-and-click adventures even harder to get into, and a lot of people don't want to play point-and-click adventures in the first place. I could imagine people spending less than an hour here thinking about the Steam 2-hour automatic refund policy and just saying, forget it. There's just because I saw a cutscene that involves characters from the first game and haven't really even gotten the story to interact or make any sense why I even saw that cutscene, this is not a very good sell. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I end my episodes the same way. I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos because all of that helps. When you subscribe, please click the notification bell. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites like Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description. Also Facebook. Man, I guess I never mentioned Facebook. If you want to support me, I'm asking people to friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wish list, or just a game they'd like me to see, like to see me play. Or if you don't want to choose, you can also gift gift cards. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.